Listen, I did film and television studies at university for 3 years. I spent hours reading countless books and articles on subjects spanning from film all the way to television. Not a single one mentioned Hugh Grant once.
I achieved the hardest qualification across any university or college ever, a 2-1 in history. Let me tell you, the only thing that I learned was that we, as a society, have a history of denying and neglecting Hugh Grant's artistic and cultural relevance, not just in this country, but in the entire world.
I met Oscar at a Hugh Grant-themed event I put on at the Students' Union.
It felt as though Diggory and I were the only ones there, and we agreed that there was a Hugh Grant-shaped hole in academia.
We decided to put it right ourselves. We want to show people that he's an icon in acting.
We want to show people he's more than just a bumbling posh guy.
I'm Diggory Waite.
And I'm Oscar Beardmore Gray. And this is...
Taking Hugh for Granted.
Hello and welcome to Taking Hugh for Granted, the podcast in which two Hugh Grant enthusiasts watch every single film starring Hugh Grant in the attempt to answer the simple question: is this film taking Hugh for granted? Is this film good on its own, or does it rely on the bumbling Brit for its acclaim? I'm Diggory Waite, and I'm joined as always by my colleague and fellow Hugh Grant obsessive Oscar Beardmore Gray. Oscar, how the bloody hell are you doing today, mate?
Diggs, I'm actually not doing that great today, to be honest, because I've got the plague. Coronavirus itself.
Yeah, the spicy cough. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
2 years it took me to get this thing.
12 years of it in Azkaban. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 long years of dodging things, dodging bullets, and finally it struck me down.
And that you told me about your week, and that you go to every party under the sun. You go out and somehow I've been caught by COVID, which I'm not having a go.
No,
by the
I
way.
was asking for it, and I was also asking for it because I had been quite dismissive of it in recent weeks.
Oh really?
A little bit dismissive.
Yeah, you're like, it's done now. It's over. We're sorted. Yeah. I'm immune. Have you heard some of these people? Were you one of these people that's like, I'm immune. I must be immune.
Yes.
Were you one of those?
No. Was I saying that? No, I wasn't saying that. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I probably had it.
Oh, right. Yeah. But I definitely know there's been people who've been like, maybe I am immune, and they've been fully going on being like, I think I am, which is just, I think rubbish. Quite frankly insane. Yeah, quite frankly. But you're looking good.
Well, thank
you.
And
you're okay.
I'm at the moment okay, but if I go downhill during the episode, and I apologise to listeners if my voice register is slightly lower than it normally is. But look, I've turned up. I've turned up for the recordings, even though I woke up this morning feeling like absolute shite. Yeah,
here we are. Well, that's what we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. Unlike me last week when we were meant to do it and I didn't turn up. So there you go.
Yeah, you had bigger and better things, Diggory, I'm sure.
Not possible. We're talking about Hugh Grant here. That's not possible. I should be ashamed of myself. Speaking of Hugh Grant, today we have watched 12th Night, the animated tales. Should we have a synopsis from Synopsis Simon, and then we'll just talk about
let's do it
about this. Let's do it. Come on, Synopsis Simon, what have you got for us, mate?
Shakespeare, the animated tales rendition of Twelfth Night, written by William Shakespeare, adapted for the screen by Leon Garfield, and released as part of a series on the BBC in 1992. Viola, voiced by Fiona Shaw, and Sebastian, voiced by Hugh Grant, are look-alike twins, separated by a shipwreck. Viola lands in Illyria, where she disguises herself like her brother and goes into the service of Duke Orsino, voiced by Roger Allam. When some time passes and Viola's brother Sebastian shows up in Illyria, all merry hell breaks loose.
So this is a Shakespeare play, Twelfth Night.
Yes.
Well, firstly, are you well versed in Shakespeare? Are you a Shakespearean boy?
I was hoping I was going to get to ask you that question because,
yeah.
I mean, no, not like yes and no. Like I did, I know a few Shakespeare plays. I've been to the Globe Theatre. I've studied Shakespeare at A-level English.
Of course.
So Does that count me as a Shakespeare person? Maybe, no. But would I seek it out? No.
I think that is fair. How was the Globe Theatre? For people at home that don't know, the Globe Theatre was the famous theatre where all of Shakespeare's plays were done, pretty much.
It's actually really great. I mean, I would recommend it now I'm showing I'm a cultured Shakespeare person. I would recommend it. Like you know, when you think that Shakespeare is like really boring, which is a stereotype, they do make it quite fun. Like it's quite a jolly atmosphere. It's still got that like old school sort of circle amphitheatre. And it does feel like you're sort of, sitting in a sort of Tudor time like setting, and it's right on the banks of the South Bank and of the River Thames in London. So it is a spectacle. If you're coming over to the UK, like I would recommend it, and it's relatively cheap as well because you can buy tickets if you want to stand. Like
as they did back in the day.
You can buy tickets for like 10 15 pounds, I think. So it's actually not a bad deal.
Well, that is cool. The thing is, I have genuinely, even though I have to be honest, I'm a little bit of a Shakespeare hater, just because, which is bad. He's probably maybe the greatest writer ever to live, but except for Hugh Grant, when he wrote his testimony. His testimony for the
Leveson Inquiry.
Indeed. Just because it's a little bit like, oh God, I actually don't have a fucking clue what's going on. It's definitely better when you watch it in actual play. When you read it sometimes, or when I feel like, because like Twelfth Night, for example, maybe it's just this adaptation. Even though it was being explained to me by a narrator, I still was like, what the fuck is happening?
You don't understand Old English, is that what it is?
No, I don't. I really do struggle. But also, I was this will show you how much of a cultured man I am. I was more of a Christopher Marlowe fan.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that is controversial.
Yeah. So again, I don't even think people will know who Christopher Marlowe is, but I think they were playwrights around the same time.
If you've watched Shakespeare in Love, which is like not a Shakespeare play, but a Shakespeare thing, then that will explain it. He was like his rival.
Yeah. And I was, it was kind of like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
Well, it's a bit like Colin Firth and Hugh Grant, isn't it?
There you go. I was like, I've got to think of a reference that isn't dated as fuck, and we've got the perfect one right here. Well, obviously it's Hugh Grant in this case. So that makes a lot of sense. And do you know what? I actually think this is true, isn't it? I think more people like Colin Firth than like Hugh Grant, which I'm not saying that. I think, from what I can tell from what people have told me, that seems to be what most people think, which is weird to think that Hugh Grant is underground, but I think he is.
I think more people think Colin Firth was better looking.
Honestly,
I think that's what it is.
It's despicable. How can you watch Bridget Jones 1 and 2 and go, yeah, Colin Firth's got it? No.
He can't.
He can't. So basically we're saying you're not that into Shakespeare, but...
Well, look, I'm treading on eggshells here because I was in Montreal last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's the first time I see my family in 6 months. And the first thing that my mum says to me virtually is, Oscar, who wrote Jane Eyre? And I was like, I don't know, Jane Austen? And she's like, no, it's Charlotte Bronte, and you got it wrong on your podcast. So like literally, my mum had literally probably been, she's probably listening right now. She sat on that for 6 months, and that's the first thing she says to me in the taxi. No. So I feel like I have to prove myself to be knowledgeable of Shakespeare in this episode. But to be honest, Twelfth Night is not a Shakespeare play I'm that familiar with.
Neither. I mean, obviously we all know Romeo and Juliet, like, but other than that, I'm struggling.
You must know that one.
Do you know what? Macbeth is one of those ones that just passed me by, even though it looks sick, like ghosts and swords and Scotland, right?
Yeah.
That sounds great. That sounds brilliant. And yet somehow I don't actually really know what happens.
Okay.
Does he kill his mum or something?
Yeah. Like he gets a dagger and he kills everyone.
That sounds sick. I'm into that. Would Hugh Grant have at one point played Macbeth? No, it's Hamlet. That's who everyone always plays. Hamlet. Yeah. That's like your... And so what's Hamlet? What happens in that? It's a good podcast.
I remember Hamlet being quite boring. I didn't like Hamlet because it's really long. Right. But I think, from my memory, Hamlet is more Hugh Grant's realm than Macbeth. Macbeth is like a dark play, whereas Hamlet is it's got some tragedy, but it's also a comedy, which a lot of Shakespeare plays are obviously like that.
Are you freaking out a bit now? Are you like, have I got that right?
I might have to go like re-record this bit just in case I got it wrong. One thing I am sure of though is that 12th Night is a comedy. It's meant to be a lighthearted comedy.
Yes.
It was meant to be, obviously 12th Night is like the 12th day of Christmas. So it's kind of like a Christmas play.
Right.
And in this adaptation, animation, Hugh Grant plays Sebastian. But I mean, I don't know. Should we talk about it? Like, he doesn't really appear much in it, does he?
No. He's in like 5-10 minutes at the end. It's only 25 minutes long,
which is great.
So it's which is perfect because I couldn't really take any more of that. But so the story is, you would have heard from Synopsis, Simon, but as quick as possible. Twins on a boat, boy and a girl. The boat capsizes or whatever, shipwreck. They wash up. They both go and live about their lives, and eventually join up at the end, and people mistake identity with them because they're like, oh, I thought you were... Because the girl pretends to be a boy, essentially. It's like Mulan vibes.
Vibes. I love that because basically every film these days of mistaken identity is taken from Shakespeare.
Yeah. And I'd be like, yes, Mulan. Mulan did it first. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. But it does make me think, because obviously, because it's all about... It is a comedy, and it's all about love and stuff. So essentially...
Boring.
The girl who... I love all that stuff. The girl who's pretending to be a boy, her master, who's a bloke, they have an interesting relationship where even though they're two blokes and they're like hugging and being like, oh, talking about love all the time. And then the girl who is pretending to be a boy then goes to another girl who the girl thinks she's a boy, so she fancies her. And it all becomes this entangled thing. And then, but basically, what I'm trying to say is it's extremely gay. I was loving that aspect of it, and I just thought it was very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would love to reel off examples here, but it is not the only play where Shakespeare does that kind of thing. And I think As You Like It, which is a play I have studied actually,
nice.
Has a similar thing where, you know, you get these love triangles where people fall in love with boys and girls. And what was so funny about it, I guess, is that back in the day when you're actually watching it at the Globe, like everyone who was a player, like an actor, was a man.
Yeah.
So like it was all this kind of like, even in the play, someone might be in a woman. It might have been a man playing a woman, but then like all those roles are reversed in the play. So you could see how if you're watching in real life, it would have been genuinely funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And also what would have made me very happy is even more gay. It would have been great. Which is also really funny because obviously I imagine back then they were really homophobic, but then they would be like, right, only men can be actors though. But you need to play a woman, and then you guys need to like get off with each other.
It was Shakespeare's way of bringing a little bit of that into the sort of high society. Because like Queen Elizabeth like turned up to this stuff. Queen Elizabeth I, she would like rock up.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. Those were back in the day. So yeah, I mean, so what did you think about this then? You know, obviously Hugh Grant wasn't in it much, so that wasn't great.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we haven't seen Hugh in that many voice roles, but we have seen him in Pirates. Band of Misfits, which is obviously only filmed about 10 years ago. But so this was 1992. You know, there's not that much to be said about Hugh, to be quite honest with you. But a couple of interesting things. Viola, who is Hugh Grant's twin, the voice is played by Fiona Shaw, who I'm currently watching Killing Eve. Have you watched Killing Eve?
I've seen bits of it, yeah. And she's a mum, isn't she?
Yeah, she's amazing in it. So it was just really funny, like watching Killing Eve, which I would recommend to people, and then switching over literally like 10 minutes later to the 12th Night animation from 1992, and there she is alongside Hugh Grant.
There she is again, yeah. And obviously she's Aunt Petunia. That's how most people know her well in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Which needs to be said. And obviously that was good. I thought all the voices were delightfully British and camp and stuff.
Well, the other weird thing is that it was... Did you watch until the credits? It was like a Russian play.
Yeah. How weird is that?
So random.
Yeah, it's really random. I couldn't really tell what was going on there. So I guess that some Russian production company must have made it, and obviously, like then you can just dub the voices over with English actors, so it's fine, and then release it here. That is interesting. I wonder why the Russians in particular wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, they're not in our good books at the moment, so maybe we leave it at that.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well... Can you? I don't know if you guys can hear that. Can you hear that? That's the sound of us scraping the bottom of a barrel. We are still currently waiting for Hugh Grant's film to come out. Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre. Although,
what the fuck has happened with that?
Basically, the film was due to come out in March?
Yeah.
And that was after being pushed back already.
Had a release date and everything.
It had a release date. They released a poster. They released a trailer. We were all very excited. But it did feel like it went a bit quiet just before that. Even, the usual, you would have thought you'd seen a lot more about it, but nothing really happened. The speculation online was that they had run scared of the Batman, which is fair enough. People often do this. It's like Ed Sheeran. Everyone remember when he released his album, and basically he had timed it so that like no other big people were releasing their album around the same time, and that's why he got the album had 17 tracks on it, and all 17 tracks were in the top 20 of like every country ever. But it turns out the film has just gone completely quiet, and people are now speculating that actually what they're trying to do is sell it to a streamer such as Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. But it's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird. Like, I mean, look, I haven't been in the world of film that long. I mean, can I say I'm in the world of film?
This counts as being in the world of film. It's a low bar.
Yeah. Sorry, that was really arrogant.
No, it counts. It counts.
Since I've been a film critic, I haven't heard of this happening, but maybe it does happen more often than you think. But like putting a trailer out and everything is a bit odd.
Exactly. And also, if you're an actor, what are you thinking at this point? You're like, okay, when's my film going to come out? But then again, I think this does happen all the time, that like things just get pushed back for various reasons. Like they need some more time post-production, they need to re-edit this, or they need to reshoot this, or blah, blah, blah. But I think in my head, and from what we can tell, the film is shot, the film is edited, it's ready to go. It's oven ready.
It is oven ready.
There we go. So that's what we're waiting for, and we want to do our epic retrospective, but almost feel wrong to do it before this film has come out.
Yeah, I mean they put us in a bit of a bind, haven't they? Really?
Yeah.
Because we want to release that content and keep it so where we have an episode every 2 weeks, which we have done for the last 2 years, but
yeah.
It might be a struggle because, like you said, we're going to have to wait for this film. There are a few other sort of long lost gems at the bottom of the ocean, literally below the barrel that could be watched.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is like, this is in the cellar, like the 1910 vintage that hasn't been touched. And
to be honest, we'll take one drop and be like, yeah, it's rancid. It is rancid. That's gone off. Because I did a minute of The Last Place on Earth. I watched a few minutes of it and I thought, I can't hack this. There's 8 episodes of this thing or something.
Well, maybe we should just watch one episode.
Yeah, get a flavour for it.
And then review one
maybe
episode.
Let's do that.
And just be like, look, we watched one episode. We didn't really want to watch 8 episodes. I think the listeners would cut us some slack.
Maybe. But then what if he's not in that episode?
Then we've got to watch 2.
We've got to watch 2 episodes. Well, then at that point, we might as well watch 8 episodes. That's a good idea. Maybe that's what we should do. All right. This is great. We're having a production meeting on air.
Yeah, we're actually having a brainstorm during the podcast. Sorry, everyone.
But what about this? Let's do some other housekeeping then, because we can merge this with a Hughes news. 2 pieces of Hughes news right now is that Hugh Grant has opened another lawsuit, this time against the Sun newspaper in the UK, who people hate. So we may have a sort of phone hacking scandal Hugh Grant saga part 2 coming up, which I'm sure everyone's very excited for. What do you think we can expect from that from Hugh?
Well, sorry, I'm not caught up. Who's he, what is he suing them for?
I think stuff that happened back in... back in the day, Yeah, exactly.
Well, fair play to him, because, it takes a lot of strength and energy and money and time to take these people through the courts. So if he is successful, he obviously thinks he has a case to be heard, which I'm sure he does. So I'm sure it will be interesting if we hear more about that in the coming sort of months ahead.
Indeed. And I'm sure we'll see some lovely tweets from him.
Yes,
being
definitely
all angry and stuff, which would be great. And then the other piece of news, which is a lot more exciting, is that we now have a full title for the new film Dungeons and Dragons, due in 2023, which actually, thinking about it, it's only like a year away. I think it's going to come out in March 2023, which is very exciting. Dungeons and Dragons
Honor Among Thieves.
Yes. Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. I think that's a very cool title.
It's a very American title without the U, and wouldn't it be honor with a U amongst ST in British English?
Oh, yeah. Honor Among Thieves. Oh, my God. Yeah, it should be Honor Amongst Thieves. Oh, God. Oh, this is horrible.
Hugh wouldn't approve of that.
Hugh would not approve of that. This film will now not be getting delayed as well.
Well, they'll have an English version probably, won't they? It'll be like The Sorceress and Philosopher's Stone. Hugh will see to it.
Exactly. But that's still, to this day, I'm still like, why did they need to call it the Sorcerer's Stone? Are you telling me that Americans don't have philosophers? That's just not, mad. But that's something we can all look forward to. At current, with that, there's literally a 26-second trailer, which isn't even a trailer. It's just the words on the screen and a release date, 3/3/23.
How exciting.
Yeah. So I can't bloody wait for that, because as you know, I'm playing Dungeons & Dragons. I have been probably since just a bit after we started this podcast, and I love it. It's great. And just as long as that, and I think the writers are good. We've talked about this. Go check out our Who's News episode on the announcement of this. But I think it's something really to look forward to. So I can't wait.
I have 1 year from now to actually play Dungeons & Dragons, because otherwise I probably won't appreciate it in the same way.
But didn't you say some of your mates played it?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I feel like though I'm on the outside looking in now, though. I feel like...
Yeah. But they might be kind to you, and they'll let you just like hop in for one episode or something, or one session.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like it's kind of like, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something.
I've got to learn the rules now, and I can't do it. Yeah. Also, you got to play a character. You got to get into a role. What would you be if you had to be a mystical race and a sort of...
Oh my God, I feel like that's the kind of answer that that's the kind of question I dread.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, you're.
That's just like a really boring generic answer. That's like
no, that's
fine.
Like
the most vanilla answer ever, isn't it? To say that you're going to be an elf.
I guess so.
Can you be a dragon?
You can be a dragonborn, I think, or a dragon kind. So you can be like a humanoid dragon.
What are you?
My character is a half human, half elf.
Okay, that's quite on brand.
Yeah, exactly. He's a bard as well, so he he does cast magic with his lute.
Okay,
and
quite Shakespearean then.
Indeed. Just when you said okay, then I was like, you don't give a fuck. You're looking to be like, when's he going to stop talking? Yeah, I love it. Well, there you go. Lots to look forward to. But obviously, if there's any serious Hugh Grant news, you'll be the first to know about it from us. If that film comes out, you best believe we're going to review it straight away, and it'll be in your little ear holes. And then after that, we've got 50 films to review. That's 5 episodes, absolute minimum. I say 10, but maybe 5 is probably best. So that's lots to look forward to. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Taking Hugh for Granted on all of those, except Twitter. It's at Taking Hugh. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye.
Me.
Taking Hugh for Granted is produced, edited and presented by Diggory Waite and Oscar Beardmore Gray. The producers of Taking Hugh for Granted would like to state that this podcast is in no way associated with the actor Hugh John Mungo Grant, nor does it endorse his views or represent him in any way. Instead, by creating this podcast, Oscar and Diggory hope to celebrate Hugh's illustrious career, reliving his old classics and shedding light on some of his hidden gems. Hugh, if you're listening, we hope you approve.